This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com, your place to explore the game.
Hey there, I'm Benjamin, and this is my Reaper King EDH deck. Okay, before I get the video started, I'd like to say there's a couple cards that are missing. One is Soul Ring. I don't own a copy currently, so I'm looking for one of those. And the other is Cover of Darkness, which gives my creatures of a tribe Intimidate. But I am working on getting those. But unfortunately, I can only film this now because of other reasons. So yeah, let's get this started. If you want to take a look at the deck, there should be a link in the tapped out thing down there. So you can look at all the cards in more detail and see what they do. First off, we got Reaper King. He is a Scarecrow, legendary artifact creature. He costs, in there. I don't know if you can see that, but he costs, he's got 5 hybrid mana symbols, 1 for each color, and then you can pay 2 instead of paying that color. So he's all 5 colors, and he's sort of easy and hard to cast, but rather slow, so we do have to ramp a bit for that. And the Soul Ring is so good in this deck, which I don't have, unfortunately, because you just play it, and it completely pays for one of these symbols. It's like an extra land. So, this guy, what he does is he gives each Scarecrow +1/+1, each other Scarecrow. And whenever another Scarecrow enters the battlefield, you get to destroy target permanent. Now, it's this part right here, which we're really taking a look at, that bit. We're looking to abuse that, and we want to destroy a lot of permanents. This deck is actually kind of, well, it's not too powerful, it's not too broken, but it is kind of too powerful for my play group, which is really laid back about, Commander in general. So let's move on to lands. I'm running Command Tower. It is the best duel. It produces 5 colors. It's awesome. We're running Terramorphic and Evolving Wilds. Go get them. Basics, that's pretty cool. I love that. We're running a cycle of Vivids. So, the Marsh, the Creek, the Crag, whatever. We have Temple of the False God. It's pretty good. It produces 2. It's awesome. Reliquary Tower. We have the maximum hand size. We can actually draw quite a bit later in the game. So, this is really good. We are, now we're doing duels. I don't have money for fetch lands and pain lands, not pain lands, shock lands, or the original duel, so I had to settle on just, dual lands. I have Creeping Tower Pit. It's a 3/2. It's awesome. We have Mystic Gate, not because it's the best gate, just because it's the only one I have. Copperline Gorge. It's okay. It's usually just a good gate. We have a Temple Garden. Only Shockland I have. It's in here because it is. And then we have a cycle of the checklands. Except that we're missing the red-white one, I believe. And then we've got our basics. So that's 40 lands in total, I think. With 2 mountains, 3 forests, 4 swamps, 4 plains, 4 islands, and all suites in the card. Moving on now to our Scarecrows, the bread and butter of the deck. We've got Heap Doll. You can sack him to remove something from graveyard. That sometimes comes in handy, but usually he's just a 1-mana destroy target permanent. Pili-Pala. Sorry about that. Pili-Pala, you can, for 2 mana, untap him and add 1 of any color to your mana pool. We'll come back to this later because it's actually part of a pretty fun infinite combo. Fun for us. Next we've got Wingrattle Scarecrow, probably the best of the Scarecrows, or second best. It is a 2/2 for 3, and it has flying as long as you control a blue creature, but it has persist as long as you control a black creature. That means that if you leave him as a blocker and someone attacks you and you got your Reaper King out, you block, he dies, comes back, then destroys a permanent. And you still got a check blocker, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, don't even get me started on blinking this guy and like completely abusing that. Next we got Scarecrow, which lets you for 1 mana sacrifice a Scarecrow and draw a card, and for 4 you can return a artifact from your graveyard to play, which is pretty good. Especially it gets back those Scarecrows for it just does a lot of things. Yeah, and it destroys permanents. It's just an engine. It's awesome. I love this card. Next we got damn, I can't remember what he's called. He's in Spanish. But he has flying as long flying as long as you control a blue creature, and he has vigilance as long as you control a white creature. So not the most exciting. It's 4 mana. You get to destroy a guy. We have Scuttlebutt. He taps that amount of any color. You can also tap to make target creature become the color of my choice. The second one not that useful. He usually produces mana and destroys something when he enters. We got Lurebound Scarecrow. When he comes to play, choose a color. When I control no permanents of chosen color, I sacrifice him. And he's a 4/4 for 3. I really like this guy. He's fun. He does a lot of things. He's good at smashing face. Yeah, and he triggers Reaper King, so all things we want. Next we got Rattleblaze. This guy is pretty good. I mean, he's 6 mana, which is expensive. But we usually don't want to play most of Scarecrows until after we cast a Reaper King anyway. So if we play this guy and we control a black creature, he has Persist. And as long as we control a red creature, he has Haste. So you can play him, smash face. Also, he's the same as the other guy. We can use the Persist. It's really awesome. Next we have Grim Poppet. He's a 4/4 for 7, which sounds really terrible, and it is. And he comes in with 3 -1/-1 counters on it. And you can remove a counter to put a -1 counter on a target creature. So it's an okay card. It's a Scarecrow, which is good. And in this deck, we're blinking a lot of Scarecrows and sort of abusing that. So with this guy, you can actually remove the counters, blink him, remove the counters, blink him, remove the counters, blink him, because he comes into play with 3. Or is that into the battlefield? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it works. I'm not entirely sure about that one, so don't quote me on it. I'm like 90%. I don't know. Anyway, if it does work, it's awesome. If not, he'll probably won't make it to the deck. Next, we have got Changelings. Changelings are from Lorwyn, and they are awesome. And they are every creature type, so they're good in all tribal. And starting off, we have a Mothdust Changeling. You can tap an untapped creature you control to give him flying. He's just a Changeling for 1. He'll trigger a Reaper King. It's pretty awesome. We have Shapeshifter. This guy's more interesting. We can have target Shapeshifter become a copy of target creature until your next turn. So he can copy things. He can copy your opponent's things, or he can make your other guys' things. He's just really fun to play with and see what you can do. Not as fun now with the different legend rule, which lets each player have a legendary creature. But before, you could like copy their legendary creature with, I don't know, this guy, and it'll die, but you'd keep it or something. Yeah, but still good. Awesome card. I love it. Next we got Mirror Entity. Mirror Entity is a 1/1 for 3, and he's a Changeling, and he can, just for X, make all our creatures XXs, and that's pretty cool. We can make just an army of 7/7s if we if we top deck a land, for example. This guy lets us do something with it worth our time. That's pretty fun. Also triggers Reaper King. Next we have Taurean Mauler, probably one of the best Changelings, along with Mirror Entity and the other guy. This guy says whenever an opponent plays a spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. I don't know if you know this, but in multiplayer EDH, you have multiple opponents who are usually casting multiple things per turn. That makes this guy pretty big, pretty fast, and he will die to removal also soon. But, you know, I think there's a couple ways you can protect him in this deck, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a fun card to play with. I love it. Next we got, dang it, another guy whose name I can't remember, but it's in Spanish. I can read to you in Spanish. Cambiformas de Selenera. You know, whatever. This guy is a shapeshifter. You can pay 1 black to give him Death Edge. It's not that great. It triggers Reaper King. Might be a good jump blocker on some occasions. I don't know. Next we got Berserker Changeling. This guy has this is one of our 3 guys with Champion. Now, if you don't know what Champion does, it means that when this guy enters the battlefield, you have to exile a dude under him. So, like, but it has to be like a certain tribe usually. But Changelings are all tribes. I mean, they're all creature types. So you exile a guy under him, and it just says champion creature. So when he enters, you exile a creature under him. But when he leaves, you get that creature back. So if I like play this guy and champion the dude, and then this guy dies, then that dude comes back in and triggers Reaper King and kills something again. So it allows some fun interactions and fun stuff. Next we got Changeling Hero. Changeling Hero is a 4/4 for 5. He's got lifelink and champions the guy, which champion's good. The lifelink's okay. I like Berserker more. I like the smash faces. Next we got the green one, Changeling Titan. You champion a creature when he enters. He's a 7/7 for 5, which is substantially better than the white one, I think. Next, so that was all our creatures that trigger Reaper King. Next, we're going to move on to other creatures and sort of like support spells. I don't know, but it's going to be fun. And we're going to start. So we have Bridge Paradise. Sorry about that. Bridge Paradise. He taps to produce a mana of any color, and that's great in Reaper King. We usually need that mana of any color anyway. Next, we got Serra Ascendant. This card is just amazing in EDH. It's bonkers. It's 6/6 for 1 with lifelink. If you have 30 more life. But you know, you do. You start with 40. It's so good. It's such a good card. Next we have Snapcaster Mage. Oh, damn it. Okay. When Snapcaster Mage enters battlefield, you give target instant sorcery in your graveyard flashback. Awesome card. Good way to view stuff. Just all over good interactions. Goblin Diplomats. This guy would probably go out for Soul Ring or something. But you can dab him to make each player attack this turn to Fable. Usually, I mean, your creatures are kind of big. They're not, like, horrendously big. This guy's in here because he's filling up the spot, Soul Ring. I don't know. I should probably go my Zedru deck or something. I don't know. But, yeah, he's a good okay card in other decks. It's mediocre in this one. We've got this guy, dang, I can't remember what he's called, sorry about that, he's in Spanish, but he taps to put a +1/+1 counter on each artifact I control, artifact creature. He's a construct. He is bonkers good with another card that I'll show you later. Yeah, just really fun card, makes our scarecrows huge, we love this. Grand Architect says it gives all our other blue creatures +1/+1, and we can pay 1 blue to make target creature become blue until end of turn. And the other thing we can do is tap an untapped blue creature we control, then add 2 mana to our mana pool. And then we can only spend this mana to cast artifact spells or artifact abilities. So, the great thing about this is where Pili-Pala comes in, is that when we cast Pili-Pala, and then we cast this guy, we then pay 1 blue to make Pili-Pala blue. And then with his ability, we can tap an untapped blue creature. So, boop. And that gives us 2 colors, right? And then with those 2 colors, we spend them on Pili-Pala's ability, which for 2, he untaps and adds 1 mana of any color to our mana pool. And then we can tap him again to produce 2 colors, because he's blue, and then use 2 to untap him, because he's also an artifact, and then another mana. So by repeating this infinitely, we get infinite mana. And that is pretty cool. I love this combo. And yeah, I usually do it for bad reasons. It's not for fun. Also, with you don't need to have haste to do it, because you just sort of tap in for this. Oh no, wait, maybe you do. I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, so yeah, this guy's going over here. It's a great combo, I love it. It works with Mirror Entity to make all your creatures infinite creatures and just attack that turn. If you got any kind of evasion, you just win, which isn't always the most fun, but it does get kind of old, but you know. Okay, so moving on to the rest of the creatures. We got Trygon Predator. Whenever he hits a player, you can destroy an artifact or enchantment you control. There's a lot of those in EDH. This guy's great. Adaptive Automaton gives our scarecrows +1/+1. I think that when he enters, he triggers Reaper King, because he says as he enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, and he's a chosen creature type, and other creatures of the type get +1/+1. But I'm not sure is the thing. So I think he enters, and as he's entering, he becomes that creature, and then he enters, and he triggers Reaper King. But I'm not like 100% sure, so don't quote me on that one. Next we have Solemn Simulacrum, Sad Robot. He goes and gets a sub-basic land of any type. That's awesome. And he dies and draws his card. That's pretty good. Then we got Chameleon Colossus. He has Protection Black, kind of irrelevant most of the time. He's a 4/4/4, and for 2 green and 2 colors, you can give him +X, where X is his power, so you do that much times, he gets really big. Especially with infinite mana, just swing in there, generate infinite, and make him incredibly huge and win. Next we got Etch Monstrosity. This guy, I've only got him because he has foil. I don't know, he's not that great in the deck. But he's a 5/5 for 5 because he enters with 5/-1/-1 counters. And if for 5, you can remove 5 -1/-1 counters and draw 3. So it gives you a little bit of crabby ancestral, very bad ancestral recall. But the fun thing about this guy, and usually what I'm doing with him, is that I don't really have any other sort of repeatable draw. And this was like the best one that I could find just out of my cards when I was building the deck. And he was foil. And I got him in a pack with another one of him that wasn't foil. So, yeah. I don't know. I just sort of stuck him in. And then when you have infinite mana and this guy, you can pretty much draw your whole deck. Because this ability you can activate any number of times you want. So yeah, you just draw like as many cards as you want. Like top 30, top 20, whatever. I don't care. You just draw a bunch of cards. And you got a 10/10, which isn't the worst thing ever. Next we got Prophet of Kruphix. Prophet of Kruphix is just probably my favorite card in EDH, or one of the best cards in EDH you can have for control, or creature-based decks, or really anything that has blue and green in it, and you should definitely be running it right now. What Prophet of Kruphix says is that you untap all creatures and lands you control during each other player's untap step, and then you can cast creatures as though they had flash. This is absolutely bonkers. Remember that guy that tapped to give all the artifacts +1/+1? Well, now you get to do that 5 times before your next turn. Yeah. It's such a good card. It's insane. It just does all the things you want it to do, and you win games, and that's awesome. And I got a cat. Moving on, we've got, dang it. See, all the cards in Spanish, I know what they're called in Spanish, but I don't know what they're called in English. Anyway, this one's called Alondra del Despertar. Revlark, I think that's what it's called in English. Pretty sure. When it enters the battlefield, no, when it leaves the battlefield, you put 2 creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield. That's really good. Most of our scarecrows, a lot of our little changeling guys, don't have more than 2 power, so that's really good. It gives them back, triggers King, so all things. You guess for evoke, that means you discard it. I mean, you put it in play in the second, so it just triggers the ability. It's a bit more expensive, but sometimes we do that. Next we have Sun Titan. Sun Titan does the things that you want it to do. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it puts creatures to power 3 or less from the graveyard onto the battlefield. That's insane. Especially with Revlark, you can do some just nasty, awesome things with this guy. I love it. I just really love this guy. He's super fun, super awesome. Always play him in your decks that have small dudes and white. Next we have Deadeye Navigator. This is probably one of the most... This is actually part of... When you boost this into the infinite combo, it gets insane. It just by itself is insane. So Soulbond, when you can pair it with a creature when either one enters the battlefield. So as long as Deadeye Navigator is paired with another creature, each of those creatures get a colorless and blue, exile this creature, then return it to the battlefield under your control. Okay, so that card, yeah, it's unfair, it's amazing. You destroy every permanent everybody has, and win the game. It gets incredibly stupid, and now my camera's all wonky because I celebrated too much, or exclaimed too much. So yeah, let's finish this. Next we got Magister Sphinx enters the battlefield, makes the player's life total 10. It beats all the life game players. It's just amazing, and it does various things you want it to do. Venture Sorcerer but his +2 is you blink a dude, but he returns at your end step, and then -1 creature control unblockable, and then you get an emblem. I've never actually pulled off the emblem. Anyway, the emblem I've never pulled off. He just very good with Reaper King, does all the things you want it to. Next we got Tezzeret the Seeker. Tezzeret the Seeker, you can plus him to untap 2 artifacts. Then you can -X him to search your library for any artifact card with converted mana cost X or less. Then put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Good. It tutors all your dudes out. It's just super good. Just really good. Also, he's -5, makes all our dudes 5/5s. I don't know. It's not that useful, but the tutor's mostly what you want it for. Next we got Sora Markov. Sora Markov is insane. you play him, and then you -3 him instantly. You don't bother with the first ability. The last one is fun, but you're never going to pull it off. But you play him, you -3 him, that player's life total is now 10. That's super good in EDH. Like, really good. I love this card. It's awesome. I play it all the time. It has 3 black and 3 colors, which is kind of hard to cast, but, whatever. Moving on, we've got our 9 creature spells, which aren't that many. Just like that. Actually, there's quite a few, actually. I take it back. And, they let you abuse certain things. So we've got Mystical Tutor, search your library for an instant or interrupt a mana sorcery, or a sorcery, and then you put it on top of your library, I think. Yep. It's pretty cool. Then you got Collective Voyage. This card's awesome, Commander. I really love this card. Especially for this deck, like, I mean, yeah, you're giving lands to your opponent, but we're not really doing anything until after turn 5, so we don't care if we advance the game that much. It's not that bad for us. Like, we'd rather just play this on turn 2 or 3, and then skip the next 2 turns that we would have had to be able to cast the Reaper King, and then everybody else is also casting huge stuff, usually. But we don't, yeah, it's just such a good card. The mana ramp's insane. For 5 color, it's just so good because it fixes all the colors. We're usually happy to have this in our opening hand. Next, Dreadbore. Kills creature planeswalker, pretty basic. It's awesome. Demonic Tutor, it goes and gets anything and puts it in her hand. This is so good for setting up combos. It's usually getting a different tutor, though, which we will talk about later. Lightning Greaves. This is just, yeah, it's stable. Why not? Counterspell, it's to protect our infinite combo. We actually have another counterspell, which will, we have Dissipate. Hey there. Yeah, so these are just to protect our infinite combo. We don't really use them for anything else. Next we have Oblivion Ring, in Spanish, cool old art. Yeah, it just kills any permanent. It's super good. I love this card. We have Chromatic Lantern. This guy is so good. It lets all our lands tap for any color, and it also taps for any color. So not only does it ramp us turn, but it lets all our mana do any color they want. And this is just an EDH staple. I will play this every day. Next we have Ghost Away. We remove each creature you control from the game. Return those creatures to play under their owner's control. Sorry, I just had like a brain fart. Remove each creature you control from the game, then return them to play under the owner's control at the end of turn. In a lot of words, it blinks dudes and triggers Reaper King and is awesome. Sphinx to Revelation, you gain extra X, and it costs 3 plus X. Pretty cool. Awesome card in EDH, definitely play it, you'll love it. Next we have a card called Birthing Pod. I hear it's pretty awesome in Modern. I don't know. I don't play those formats. Anyway, you can tap it for, it's usually a 3-drop, but you can pay 4 if you want. Usually you're tapping it for 1 also, but you can pay 2 if you want. And taking damage. And then you're sacking a creature to search your library for a creature that costs, that has power, wait, what? No, it has converted mana cost equal to that plus 1. So if you sack a 2-drop, you can get a 3-drop. It's really awesome, especially with our Scarecrows. We can trigger Reaper King a bunch of times. Diabolic Tutor gets a card. The Edge Runner wipes board. Armageddon's better. Don't have Armageddon. Not Armageddon, sorry. Wrath of God, sorry. Next we have Rite of Application. This is a pretty common combo for Reaper King decks. It's a copy target creature for 2 blue and 2 colorless, and it puts a token onto the battlefield, but you can kick it for 5, and if you do, you put 5 copies of that creature onto the battlefield instead. So with Reaper King, you cast this kick targeting Reaper King, and you put 5 copies onto the battlefield. The first copy sees the 5 entering the battlefield and destroys 5 permanents. I know, the original one does that. The first copy sees 4 entering the battlefield and destroys 4 permanents, and then the other 4 copies do the same as the first one. So they destroy 4 permanents each. And then that would be 4 times 5 plus 5, which is 25, sorry. Permanents, and that's really insane. That's super good. I love that. It's great. Play this card in your Reaper King decks. Next we have Replicator. As it enters the battlefield, you choose creature type and pay X, and enters with X charge counters on it. And then you can pay 4 and tap it to put an XX onto the battlefield of chosen creature type, where X is the amount of charge counters on it. So this is really good, even if you're just making 1/1s. Like, yeah, with infinity mana, I enjoyed tapping this to make infinities. And that's really awesome. But even with the 1/1, just tapping this for to destroy target permanent is pretty awesome. Especially when you have a bunch of mana, like an EDH. Creeping Renaissance, I think Renaissance, I don't know. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a permanent type and return all those cards from your graveyard to your hand, and it has a flashback of 7. It costs 5. This is pretty good. It's just really good to get all your Scarecrows back and be able to cast them again. Really good way to recover from Wrath. Usually, yeah, it's just really good. Next we have Conspiracy. A foil. It's shiny. It's super shiny. As Conspiracy comes into play... drop some cards. Anyway, as Conspiracy comes into play, choose a creature type. All creatures in your graveyard, hand, and library are chosen type. Yeah. In your graveyard hand. So yeah, it's a good way to have all your dudes trigger Reaper King. It's just awesome. I love it. Yeah, it's just really good. It's awesome. I have no idea how to say this. Asceticism? Anyway, creatures you control can't be targeted spells or abilities your opponents control. Regenerate target creature. Pretty basic, protect your dudes. Maelstrom Nexus. This just gives the first spell we play each turn. Cascade. It is super awesome. This card is so good. I love this card. I ship this card. It's amazing. Play it. Mirrorworks. Whenever an artifact comes into play, you can pay 2 and put a copy of it. That's awesome to abuse dudes. And it does say, abuse Scarecrows. It does say whenever a non-token artifact enters the battlefield. So if you've got your blink thing going with I can't remember what he's called, but the blue guy, I told you about him earlier. You can blink a guy, then pay 2, put a token onto the battlefield, destroy 2 permanents off the guy that entered and the other thing, then blink him again, pay 2. So, like, for 4, you're destroying 2 permanents, and you get a copy of a Scarecrow, which is insane. And then with the guy that puts -1/-1 counters on him, on stuff, that just gets even better. We got Diabolic Revelation. Diabolic Revelation is insane. It's just a super good card. It does all your things you want it to. It's 5 mana, you search your library for X. You can pay X up here. Then you put the cards in your hand. It's really good, I love it. Awesome, best 2 in EDH. That's what you're searching for. You're setting up combos, whatever. Next we got Life's Finale. Destroy all creatures. Then you search an opponent's library for 3 creatures, and then you put them into his graveyard. It's our only, second board wipe, actually. Okay, that's it for my deck tech. As always, thank you for watching CMDR decks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.